Hello everybody, David Abram here. Welcome back to my channel as always. I know it's been a while since I've pushed out any video recently, but without further ado, I'm rolling right into this. Lately I've been giving some thought to all the articles I've been seeing, or the articles I have seen in the past, referring to things like men opting out, fewer men settling down, fewer men throwing themselves into committed relationships at their expense. And if you've ever noticed, the main publishers of these articles, the main writers of these articles, the main, broadcasters of these articles are seemingly women. And today I wanted to talk about what that really means in these articles whenever they ever throw around that term of man up or stand up to the full plate. Pull yourself up by the straps. And I, in this video, am going to translate what that really means subliminally and what that really means between the lines. Because I think when men say man up, it has a different context than when feminists and women say man up. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that in this video. And what I want to start off with in my translation of what this really means is forget all about your masculinity. Because in my belief as a MGTOW, whenever I read these articles or whenever I see these articles, your masculinity is not even really at hand, or not even really the question of the matter. I think the real question of the matter is how good of a provider can you be? How good of a slave can you be? How good of a utility can you be? See, when feminists say man up, this is what it really translates to, in my honest perspective as a MGTOW. So, to my fellow MGTOWs, whenever you hear the term man up, here's what it really essentially means. They're not really questioning or even attacking, I would say, your masculinity. Perhaps, maybe they are in some sense, depending on how one man or many men interpret it. It kind of all comes down to an individual level, but what I believe as a MGTOW perspective is whenever they say man up, I think back to the Sexodus article, I think back to there's so many. I mean, in the manosphere, there's plenty of MGTOW videos and plenty of MGTOW channels that actually podcast or broadcast these articles. And what they really come down to is how good of a financial provider can you be to a female? How well of a disposable utility can you become towards a female? How much value in the hierarchy or social hierarchy can you extend to that of a female? You see, whenever you see these articles, don't even operate under the premises that it has anything to do with you actually being a man, because last time I checked, as far as I remember, especially from my biology class, every man has an XY chromosome. Every man has testes. Every man has that genital. Every man has that. That is, if they are actually a man and not transgender or some other phenomenon or whatever the letter is of that caliber. Point is, these articles exist to shame men back into submission and back to the social hierarchy known as the plantation, to maintain an established order that they've had over men for the past millenniums. Dozens of millenniums. But I think now society is at a tipping point, specifically Western society. We're at the tipping point where we recognize we don't have to do any of these things. We can go our own way, we can do our own thing, and we don't have to operate under their premises that being a man is equal to becoming a utility and a provider to be disposed of and discarded when all the resources are gone. We realize as MGTOWs and as Red Pillars we don't have to. And that, in some essence, is the true freedom behind MGTOW. Realizing that regardless of whatever society dictates that you have to do or lays down to what you have to do, You do not have to. You are an individual. And this all ties back to the second principle, I believe, that I coined with MGTOW in one of my previous videos. Individuality. We are individuals. And that is where our strength lies. It lies within our individuality and our ability to tie back to 3 common threads that bind us together, which are the 3 tenements of MGTOWs, being that you are a man, or you are a male, you are unmarried and or single, and that you understand gynocentrism and willfully reject to it. So, my words of advice, whenever we see these articles in the future to come, because we're going to see more of them, I wouldn't be surprised if we see twice the amount, because now I understand from an update of Raging Golden Eagle, 70% of men between the ages of 20 to, 30, do not want to get married, are not interested in married, and or just are not married at all. So, these are good signs, and I think the future looks bright. But don't give in to these narratives that you see in these articles. Don't even worry about your masculinity as a man, since that's not really the question. It wouldn't matter to us either way around, since we're Zeta males for the most part. But don't give in to the narrative that being a man is becoming a utility and being a provider. Don't give in to that. Stay strong. Be proud. Man power. And until the next time, cheers. One more thing to add that I think is worthy of noting. Notice how, when you see these articles, men are always the primary targets. Men are always the ones who they'll be referring to supposedly man up, which I think points greatly to another double standard at hand. How many articles, or put it this way, when was the last time you saw an article that talked about any flaws with women, or the shortcomings of women, or saying that women should woman up and actually take responsibility for their actions and face repercussions that come with their actions? I can't remember the last time I've seen an article that does that. All these articles seem to target primarily men, which goes to show just how society sees us. We are nothing more than an asset. We are nothing more than cattle on a plantation. And this is what we are willfully in rejection to. So, there you have it. That's how society sees us. They don't have our backs, gentlemen. So, truth be told, as bitter as the truth may seem, we have to have our own. That's all I got. What are your guys' thoughts on this? You agree, disagree, have a different standpoint? Please do feel free to leave it in the comments sections below. Please like, subscribe, and until the next time, thanks for watching.